So just to finish off this workflow then, here we see that exception request has been rejected. And again, this is the notification email that is prompted once that approval request is rejected. And that will take us to this record. And then here is the approved email, again, that takes us to the approved record. So the system communicates all along the way with the primary contact or the risk manager as appropriate to let them know the status of the mitigation exception request workflow. And so then our final point then is once the exception request is ready to be closed, we have two options effectively as we're coming up to the due date. We can, if we're not able to complete the mitigation plan by the exception request due date, then we can request an extension. And again, just submit that extension detail, add the date of the desired date of the extension. Upload any attachment and send that for submission. And that will log, and now you can see that an extension request has been logged. And we can see that now has been submitted as an extension request. And that extension request will then go through the same protocol as the exception request. It must be submitted for approval and granted. And if it's not granted, then the risk must be resolved in similar fashion to the exception request. Or if we don't need an extension, let's go to another record that has an exception request and has been this one approved. And we are able to resolve the risk in the time. We simply click resolve risk. We put our description here, how we resolve the risk. And then we add the date, acknowledge, again, the fair warning as always for CyberOne, and we click submit. And there that shows as closed. And so now if we go back to the finding record in the platform, we can search for that finding. And here we see that the finding status has now been closed because the exception request status is closed there as well. And we don't need to validate here, of course, the way we would with a risk mitigation plan because the exception request has already been approved. So that would terminate the workflow process for the exception request in the event that the risk is resolved at this stage. Okay, so that completes our training for today. Thank you very much.